going on, people? This is the Tech Time podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Tech Time himself. He is me, and I am him. This is episode 5 now. This is the first episode that I'm doing via Zoom, and that's for a good reason. Because my guest, my special guest, is broadcasting all the way from the US of A. And that guy is called David Cooley of the No Fugazee podcast. And he's here broadcasting all the way from Pennsylvania. How are you doing, brother?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty good, man. Nice to finally chop it up with you, brother.
Definitely. I appreciate the time, man. I know you're a busy guy. Time is money. So, bro, I appreciate it, man, so much, man.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you. No, definitely, man. Definitely. So we were just chopping it up before we came on air. Like I said, you're from Pennsylvania, but you're originally from Jersey.
Yeah. So originally from Rahway, New Jersey, and then where I live at now in New Jersey is like 5 minutes away from Pennsylvania. So I'm right near the border of PA. So
Mm.
I went to school in Jersey until I was around 14 years old. And then I moved out to Pennsylvania where I finished high school and college as well. So
Is there much of a difference? I know in terms of geography they're very close, but in terms of that, the lifestyle, is there a lot of similarities, any differences?
yeah, I mean, America is kind of all the same. The locations you go to, it all depends on like if you're in like a city or if you're in the suburbs or if you're in a hood. You know what I mean? Like the ghetto. So
Yeah.
those is the really the two, or you got the country. Those are the really 3 or 4 major differences. So in Rahway, where I lived at, I was born and raised in Rahway Projects. So that was the hood I was born in
Mm.
and raised. I lived there until I was 13 years old. And then after I lived in the projects, we was on Section 8, housing, stuff like that. So, had a little rough upbringing, just like most, black people in America. Um, and then from living in Rahway, New Jersey, I moved to another town called Island. And it was in New Jersey as well. That was like the first time I got out of that Section 8 housing. Like me and my mom and my brothers and my sisters, we had a little house because before I was in those row homes. There was a lot of little, those row homes, those project homes. And then from there, when I was about 13 years old, moved to Island. Then from Island, we moved to Pennsylvania, man. And then that's where I went to um, 2 different high schools in Pennsylvania. And then I graduated from a high school in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. And
yeah, man.
what? Because you had a rough upbringing, as you mentioned. What do you, in terms of preference, in terms of where you lived, taking away from the
Yeah.
Section 8 housing and stuff, what do you prefer? Do you prefer Jersey or do you prefer Pennsylvania?
I would say Jersey made me, but Pennsylvania saved me. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So like
Hmm.
Jersey is, what created, the part of the mindset I have, the culture, it was the full upbringing. Um, it made me the person I am today. Pennsylvania saved me because I could have been a drug dealer in prison for many years. I could have been a gangbanger. I could have done a multitude of things and just went down the wrong path. So moving
Hmm.
to Pennsylvania, that definitely saved me because I was at that age, 13 years old. If I was still living back in the hood, the influences that was coming at me, it would have been more enticing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You could
So
have gone
yeah,
either way. At that age, you could have gone either way.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
could have definitely could have probably went either way. I was always headstrong, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
and had a strong moral ground. Was always a leader, not a follower.
Yeah.
So I think I truly still would have been all right, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I look at it
That's
as
true.
Pennsylvania saved me. Yeah,
No, 100%, man, 100%. I wanted to say as well, I forgot to mention it in the intro, but congratulations on the success of the podcast, the No Fugazi podcast. Big fan of it.
Hey, man.
Absolutely killing it, man. Get me?
Yo, man.
Absolutely
I
smashing it.
appreciate that, man. I really do. I just
Mm.
started the podcast in January of this year,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and yeah, I just started off. It's only been what? It's only been, what is it? 10 months now? Yeah, because it's October 1st.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
been
yeah,
10
yeah, yeah.
months. So my first podcast was actually at the end of January, my first podcast. And the first one I released, it actually went viral on Facebook. So
Oh
my
wow,
first
okay.
first first podcast. So this my first episode I ever had. I had this 46-year-old woman on a podcast, and she was like a
I know
spiritual
exactly
type
which
woman.
podcast you're talking about. I know exactly which podcast.
Yeah,
Is that no?
that
Is it
was that was
I don't want to say the name, but I know who you're talking about. I know who you're
yeah,
talking about.
Diana. It was the Diana
Diana,
girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
everyone,
that.
yeah, everyone knows me from the Diana situation. So it was my first episode, and I'll do it a little bit before the podcast. So before the podcast, I was on Clubhouse, and I was
Hmm.
debating people on Clubhouse. I was like one of those guys that go in people's rooms, debate people, garner a whole lot of attention and respect, and then people would, put me back as moderators in these certain rooms I go to. I would never create my own room because I would just be like,
Mm.
let me just hop in a room and see what people talking about and debate. I would debate religion. I would debate relationships. Um, I would debate, the black culture per se, and where black people is in society and in America nowadays. So I was in all these debating rooms and stuff like that. This was, I would say pre-pandemic. So pre-pandemic, I already started. I just had started like the debate phase. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, then that's when a few uh well, that's when a lot of things changed in my life. I made my first, I think I made my first 100K in 2019. Just made $100,000 a
Congratulations.
year. That was great.
Congratulations.
I'm like, okay, this is good. Then in 2020, I hit my first quarter mil. So then I made more money. So I was like, okay, well, let's invest in something. So I invested in a couple little businesses here and there. And then I got into the podcast space. As we all know, Fresh and Fit has already been doing it heavy and hard within, bringing girls on a podcast and guys on a podcast. There was podcasts before that did that, like Eight at the Table, and Eight at the Table is right from New Jersey, a podcast that I know, but they was already bringing on women and men, but not really having debates. They would kind of just have like just regular type conversations and stuff. But it was like that same type of vibe. I never thought I would get into it, but I was like, you know what? I got all this money saved up. I got other businesses going on. Let me invest like $25,000 into the equipment, into a studio, and really do it. So, it first episode, I had three girls on the podcast. That Diana chick was one of them, and she was just a 46-year-old delusional woman that can't take accountability. She thought that the world was her oyster still, and really, really didn't have any respect for men at all. So she
Hmm.
painted the picture. And then a part where she ran off the podcast was because when I said, I'm like, your own reality, like, proves my point. And my point that I was making to her was that because she said she doesn't want a man to lead the relationship, she wants to lead the relationship. But then she said that she would like a man to lead a relationship, but she really doesn't care. So she was kind of all over the place. So the relationships that she had in her past and her current one that well at the time was current, she was leading that man. And she really couldn't take accountability for the type of men that she chose.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So she was
yeah.
just choosing those weak men that really couldn't provide anything too much. And I went through the whole spiel of, well, those are the men that you're attracting because your sexual market value went down. You know what I mean? When you were younger, she even admitted it. She was attracting other type of men that could lead her. But as she got older, she didn't have the value, sexual attraction value, to garner the attention and retain the men that can lead her. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And she just couldn't handle that truth, and she, had some emotional rage and ran off the podcast. And that clip, it was about a 1 minute clip. I put that on Facebook, and in like a few days, it hit like 2 million views. So then my first podcast, within like the first few days of me starting it, I had 0 subscribers. I had like, I think I hit my first like 1,000 subscribers. I was like, oh, this is lit.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
No,
So
that's
it was like
dope,
in a
man.
day. It was like in a day where that episode took me to like, I think I only got like 1,000, maybe 1,500 subscribers from that, clip going viral on Facebook. But what it did was, I was at about 25,000 followers on Facebook. When that clip went viral, it got me to about like 60,000
Wow.
followers on Facebook. And then I just kept pushing out content, and now I'm at 325,000 followers on Facebook. So yeah.
The success in such a short period of time is amazing. Did you anticipate that though? Like that it would
So
blow up the way that it did?
I mean, I'm a very perspicacious man. So when I got
Mm,
into this field, I already knew, okay, if I'm gonna get into something, one, I already know that my way with speaking to women, one, and my way with speaking in general could be intriguing. I was always one of those dudes back in school. I never cussed. I don't say any cuss words. I mean, the only cuss word I may say is what people may consider a cuss is nigga. That's about it. But I don't cuss. So I was always mindful in the stuff that I said, but I've always said the most outrageous and outlandish type of things. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So people always knew, Cooley for he may not talk a whole lot, but when he do talk, he gonna probably say something wild, and it's maybe gonna be funny or it's gonna be wild. Like, it's very direct.
Yeah.
I'm a direct speaker. I'm not an indirect speaker. You know what I mean? I tell
Mhm.
it how it is. And with me debating people on Clubhouse, I'm like, you know what, might as well start the podcast. So I started it for the purpose. I said, Fresh and Fit is doing it. I think at the time, Just Pearly Things had
Had just
hers
started.
going.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She was already like popping off in January though. I think she maybe
Mhm.
even had like 1 million subscribers at that time. Who knows, or close to it. Um, it was a few other podcasts that I watched and stuff like that too. And I'm like, I mean, this is a space where I'm already coaching men and women at the time anyway, right? So before I got into the podcast space, I was coaching men and women off the Clubhouse. You know what I mean? And I also have a TikTok account with me and my girl where we post funny stuff. We got like almost 2 million followers on TikTok. So I've already been coaching people in the background, just men and some women as well, on a dating and relationship aspect. Because me and my girl would post like some funny type content, and it'll get people speaking and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, man. So I was already coaching and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm already pretty much doing what this podcast space is doing anyway. So I might as well just dive full, dive deep into it and really take it seriously. And yeah, man, that's what I did. I invested 25K. I mean, I made that 25K back already. So
No, that's super impressive, man. Again,
yeah,
like I
man.
said, congratulations, absolutely smashing it. So I need you to explain to the folks that are going to be watching this, what does no fugazi mean?
Yeah, man. So let me tell you the story behind it. So Fugazi.
Please.
Fugazi is like that. I guess it's an Italian word. They were like, you Fugazi. Like Fugazi means like fake. Like if you got on some fake Jordans, or those are not the real Jordans, them Fugazi. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
so back where I'm from, in Jersey, which is where I lived, is like not too far from New York. New York City is about a half hour away from New York City. So I used to go to the city all the time too. But so yeah, that word it's an Italian word. The Italians say it like no Fugazi. You know what I mean? But the black culture, we took it over and we say, Fugazi. So that's where it came from. And then I put the no in front of it, like, nah, like no fake. Like this is authentic. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Nah,
And
so
it's funny is because the name came from I was so me and my family, man. I got three brothers and I got two sisters, and they all got kids, and we all get together, and we always have family debates and stuff. So we was having debates and all of that, and my brother actually he said Fugazi. He was like, man, that's Fugazi, and the word is an old word. Like people don't use it anymore. I think Future used it a few times in a song recently, but that's about it. But it's an old word. And then I was already like thinking to make a podcast. And when my brother said it, I was like, bro, you still use that old word? That's funny. Then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna name that my podcast. I'm gonna just put a no in front of it. No Fugazi. Like, yeah, we keeping it real here. So yeah, man, that's how it came about.
nah, that's that's lit. Because so that was like your eureka moment when it's like, oh damn,
It
that's
was
got
because
nice into it.
we was having a debate. Like you got to think, I'm in a family that we debate a lot of stuff.
Mm.
So we debating it, and my brother was like, "That's Fugazi." I'm like, it hit me. I'm like, oh, because I was already thinking of like trying to come up with a name for the podcast. One of the first name I had, I'll tell you, the first name I had for the podcast, because I always use this phrase. I say it's very simple. I don't know if you watch my podcast, but that's one of my phrases. I always be like, "Oh, it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
simple," and then
Hmm.
I go to explain
You say that
whatever
a
I'm
lot. To be fair, you
explaining.
you say that a lot. You do say that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Well, it's very simple." Then I go, so I was gonna name the podcast "It's Very Simple," but then I'm like, that I heard the Fugazi. I'm like, "Oh, nah, I gotta go with that. That's wrong."
Nah, that's I love the backstory to that, man. That's actually a dope backstory. And do
Yeah,
you know
man.
what? It was actually, do you know how I found out about your podcast? It was a clip that my friend reposted on his story. I don't know if you remember the episode where you're explaining to these ladies the difference, not the difference, but how women will friend zone men, and you juxtapose that to how men sex zone women, and
Yeah,
it's the exact same thing, just on different ends. But it's interesting to me because women understand the friend zone concept, the idea, yeah. But
yeah,
when you explain it to them the other way around, it's like they can't seem to wrap their mind around that. Oh shit, men do the same thing, but they do it
yeah,
differently to how we
yeah.
do it. And it's like they laughed, but it was kind of like because I remember watching. I was like, these guys really have no idea.
Yeah, man.
Because
They
even because
don't.
there've been times where I've had conversations, whether it's with exes or women that I've dealt with or female friends, and I explain to them it's like, you know, just because someone will have sexual encounters with you, taking on dates and stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna go that next step. Because a lot of
Yeah,
them, I think
yeah.
one of my sayings is, they conflate, but they can't separate.
Yep,
Makes sense,
yep.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
man.
like it's very interesting to me. So
Nah,
what's the
man. I
reaction
mean,
when you sorry to cut you off, but when
no,
you're
you're
doing these
good.
podcasts, what's like what's your reactions when some of these women have when you say these things, like what's the what's some of the wildest things that you've heard from them? Like,
I mean, I've heard some wild stuff. So, I mean, when I do these podcasts, and that's the thing with me, right? So I've never, just to give you a background, I mean, I never had a problem with getting women at all.
mm,
So I'm not one of these dudes that's doing this podcast and I had to read a book to figure out how to convey myself with women. That wasn't me. I'm 6'4". I've always been a tall dude, and I always played sports. I played basketball and football and ran track in high school. So I was never, I was the most popular, one of the more popular people in school, especially from when I was younger. When I moved around and stuff, I'm the new guy in school, so it's a little bit different, but still, I never had a problem with getting women at all. So I wasn't one of these dudes that, I mean, I lost my virginity when I was 14 years old. I didn't wait until I was 18 or something like that. I've been getting it.
Hmm.
So with that being said, I guess in a red pill space, they would call me like a natural, right? But one of the things with the naturals and when they get into the red pill space, they really don't understand the other side. Like the people that have a problem with like getting to hitting a home run with a female is what I'm saying. So I understood that because I was able to, garner attention from women and then use that in a multitude of ways. But I had people that couldn't around me, like my little homies. And I would show my little homies like, yo, yeah, man, it's not like you giving her too much attention. You know what I mean? Why you like her already, bro? You just met her. You don't even know this individual. You liking her too soon. That's weird. And she gonna think you weird because you liking her too much now. I'm like, it don't work that way. Yeah, you could be liking a girl that's cool, but you don't gotta show it too much. You know what I mean? She gonna punish you. Women always punish nice guys. They punish that when men prioritize them too much and pedestalize them too much, they punish that behavior from a man. They always do. And I knew this at a young age. That's how I was able to, get girls. And it's a multitude of different games and levels to getting females when you're young, high school, then when you're in college and things like that. Like it's a multitude of ways. When you're in high school, I was on a basketball team and I ran track, got gold medals and everything for track. So I already had that status. You get what I'm saying? I was tall as well. So I was that tall status to women. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
So
100%, 100%.
yeah, yeah. So it was definitely a natural for me. And the only reason why I understood that it's like, okay, it ain't everybody. And all my homies was tall too. That's another thing. Like the people my age, the people that I hung out with, since we all played basketball and stuff, like my bros, 6'8", 6'4". Everyone over, 6'3" in my whole group. But then we got our little homies and stuff like that, and it's a little different. Maybe they shorter and stuff like that too. So I already knew like the the biochemistry in a female's mind, how they look at height. I was just like, oh, tall. Like it was like weird almost. It's like he's a good guy. You know what I mean? They couldn't
Yeah.
relate to it. It doesn't
Hmm.
configure in their
Yeah.
brains to be like, oh, well, you know what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
I always knew that because I'm a fairly empathetic person. I've always was. And so yeah, even though I'm a natural, I was still able to see the other side of things, and that which allowed me throughout my years to coach other people and stuff like that. But not only that, with being a natural, I took many faults for being a natural. That's the thing what most people
What
don't
kind
talk
of
about.
faults did you take since we're speaking on it?
So so here's the thing, right? So the one fault is the victim mindset in a black culture, right? So the black culture, it propagates this victimhood inside men and women. And when it comes to dating, so I already know that, okay, and then there's different levels to a man, right? So I would say this: the faults that I took for being a natural is not placing my focus in the right way. So, because it took me until I was what, 29, I think, to make $100,000 a year. So that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? Long time. I'm 34.
That was gonna be my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 30. I'm 34.
Wow.
So it took me
Okay.
until I was 29 to actually get into a space where I could really succeed at, but not only just that, but like fully focus and put everything I have into it. You get what I'm saying? Because I was in the medical field, and that's how I made a lot of my money. Um, So I went into the medical field and I just fully like I was in tunnel vision and it was sales pretty much. So I use all, my talking ability and my personality to really, sell. But what I'm saying is this, right? To make it concise. So even though I was a natural, you have something that's a victim mindset in a Black culture where Black people think they're the victims and, well, this isn't going right in my life because the white man, and this isn't going good in my life because this is happening, because I was raised this way and because, where I'm from. So you get in this victimhood, right? But also the victimhood creates in your relationships, it does two things. In your personal life, you lack the accountability. And anytime you lack accountability, you lack responsibility into really taking action in your life, right? So that was the thing. I was a natural, but I wasn't taking any full action in my life to assert myself, right? So then the world is changing. The dating Instagram comes out. So now it's a little hard for me to compete. Even though I'm 6'4", I was super, super skinny. You know what I'm saying? I was like 145 pounds for a huge portion of my life. So I was like, man, people that go to the gym, I was really one of those dudes. Bro, people that go to the gym got a little PP. They got a little dick. I would literally brainwash myself to not work out. Well, if I work out, I ain't gonna be like one of them little dick niggas. You know what I'm saying? That was like that thing from where I was from. You probably heard of it too, like those
No,
cocky
no,
niggas that can't move. They probably got the little schmeek. So I never wanted to work out, and I was strong too. So I was like, I got into fights and I beat dudes
you
up that's
wanna
way
you
bigger than
wanna
me.
those slim guys that were strong. I came across a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I was one of them. I was one of them, and I got some stories to tell you about back from when I was in the hood. But to make this concise, so that's where that victim mindset comes from. It comes from one, everything is like you don't want to take accountability, and then you have no responsibility for. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I was 25 years old, 6'4", 145 pounds, 148 pounds, super, super skinny. I was making $15 an hour. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really asserting myself at all. So that made me took faults on relationships. So I would get into a relationship with a female, and then, I'm thinking like, everything sweet and cotton candy. Like I could retain this girl with my charisma, with other things about me, but I didn't even, because it takes something in a man. So competence leads to accomplishments, which then leads to confidence. So I always had the confidence part,
boss.
but my confidence part it wasn't earned, if you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
I
no,
never I never
100%.
really earned my confidence. I had the confidence because of other factors in the cultural dating field on how you could finesse a girl and not really finesse, but garner the attention from females, right? It wasn't really manly. It was still like that little boy confidence, right? So when I became more competent and had some accomplishments, my confidence became more pure. And the thing is, females are more socially superior to men. Like they're more socially
Agreed.
superior
Agreed.
than men.
Agreed.
So think about it. When a female walks in a room, she already know who the top dog is. She can sense it. She can smell
Yeah.
it on them. You get what I'm saying? And that's
Mm-hmm.
that real confidence. That's when you actually accomplish something and you got that real confidence. She know you the big dog. So a huge portion of my life, I didn't have that because I really didn't accomplish anything. So I didn't have that man confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally garnered more of that, I started seeing a huge change. But prior to that, I would get a bad girl. I couldn't retain her though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've felt many times with females like, yeah, maybe I could hit once or twice, something like that, but I couldn't retain those females. I had no ability to
Sure.
retain them. Then not only that, I took faults where with the victim mindhood, it like I was I got into relationships with women that I shouldn't have been getting into relationships with, like women that needed help per se. And I'm in this victim mindset where like, you know, um, she got a situation going on. I really seen no future. I really seen no future. So if a woman has something going on, maybe a bad past, maybe not sexual, but it's like maybe a bad upbringing, her father not in her life or something like that, I would totally just forget about those red flags. A single mom, I would just totally forget about them red flags. I would take all of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I take all of them, and I'll take them. I'll take the ones that's pretty enough and that's cool enough seriously. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I made those mistakes for sure as a young adult, and that was those mistakes really came from having the victim mindset, because I'm thinking like, well, I really didn't look at it like the woman that came from a bad upbringing, a bad family, didn't have her father in her life, or the woman that has kids and stuff like that. I never really looked at it as, well, I could get better than this. You get what I'm saying? You
No,
never
that
really
makes
looked
sense.
at it
No,
as you could get
100%.
better than it.
Mm,
You kind of, and not even only better, you kind of really didn't hold them at fault to either,
mm.
because it's like, well, how can I blame her for her past, besides the sexual past? I wasn't messing with no hoes. I wasn't messing with no 304s. If you're a 304, you ain't getting no, you only get hard D and that's it. But the other aspects of it, right? Like the maybe she got a, father isn't in her life, or, no kids, or she has kids or something. I'm like, well, I can't really hold her at fault. Stuff happened in my past too, da da da. This would be cool. And that came from with like trying to save a girl, trying to be like, I wanted
Mm,
to, because men, we naturally want to be the hero in a girl's world. But I looked at it differently because I was in that victim mindset. You get what I'm saying?
yes. Yes.
Um, so yeah, those is where I really took my L's at. Um, yeah, but at the end of the day, I learned from that, and I mean, I'm doing much better now.
Nah,
Hey, but
you
to to
definitely
get
are.
to get back to what you said before when you were talking about the friend zone and the sex zone, right?
Mm,
So, and I'll explain that in detail real quick for the audience.
please.
Because I'm sure they probably wondering about that.
Please, yes.
So yeah, and that's the thing. So most women will put guys in a friend zone and they think nothing of it. And when they have a guy in a friend zone, they know deep down inside, they like to lie to themselves, but they know deep down inside that the guy may like him may like her to a degree, right? And they keep this guy in friend zone, and they have the guy in friend zone and they garner attention, time, and resources from the guy. And if it's not resources, they definitely acquire attention and time from that guy in the friend zone. Uh, so they're perfectly fine. They're comfortable. They're living their la la life. But on the opposite end, that guy is hoping and waiting, for a crack in the door where he can slip in and make his move. He's hoping and
Yep.
waiting. He's on the other side of that, just, you know, maybe one day,
Maybe
maybe
one
one day
day.
she'll fold. She'll fold and I can slide in there. That's
Yes.
what they do. But women don't understand is that most of them, most of them are always put in a sex zone. But the key thing is that the friend zone is loud, meaning that everyone knows you in a friend zone. She knows you in a friend zone, and you know you in a friend zone.
Yes.
The sex zone, the sex zone, nobody knows. It's silent. She don't know, but you know. You're the only one that know. So that's where it kills females. So the same thing the guy is feeling in the friend zone, on the opposite end, the girl is feeling in the sex zone. She's hoping and waiting for that dude to give her some serious commitment and a true relationship or a ring. But he got her in sex zone, just hitting it. Yeah, he may be taking her out, doing some little things with her, but he just hitting it, and he's acquiring her body, her time and attention. You get what I'm saying? And
Yes.
she's living in la la land thinking she gonna get some commitment, but he's never given any true commitment. So I say this: females may win the battle, but men win the war.
Exactly. Exactly.
We win the
Exactly.
war.
And one key thing to add, Cooley, to that is women control, and you've said this many a time. RIP, the Godfather Kevin Samuels, he's mentioned it. Men control access to relationships and commitment, marriage, all of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Women control access to sex and who gets born.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
definitely.
So
So I wanted to we're gonna come back to that, but I wanted to get to a point that you made about the victim mindset. That was really intriguing to me. And I
yeah.
wanted to get your thoughts on how people can get out of that.
Yeah, so here it is, right? I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm actually going to do a podcast on it myself, um, and really dive deep into it. But the victim mindset, it really it takes control in not just the Black community. It takes control in the white community as well, but it's in different aspects. It's in different areas, right? So the victim mindset comes from culture, and it comes from environment, right? So culture and environment, which influences us, and the Black culture. I'm gonna just talk about that. You know, we have this victimhood, and it streams from slavery, right? That's where it streams from, and it was purported to us and propagated to us in a multitude of ways in school, like in history books. Like we would, like the Black, when we went over history, the only part of Black history was like slavery. Like it was
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, you niggas was, our history was, you niggas was slaves.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So,
yeah,
we didn't have any type of history growing up in school to really teach us about our true history. You know what I mean? How, of course, it was still thousands of years ago to when we were really ruling and was kings. But hey, time is time, right? So we can still talk about the time when we were rulers and creators of it all. You know what I mean? Kemet, which is now known as Egypt, where science and math came from. You know what I mean? Uh, it's like we have a huge history about the Black culture, but we don't learn that. So one, we learn it in the culture, right? And it makes us think like it's no way out. And the reason why it's no way out is because it's the white man's fault, you know? And that goes into, when you have this mindset and you thinking it's someone else's fault, then every move and step you make that you may not succeed at, you don't take accountability for. You'll say, well, I didn't get this job because they probably seen my name. It was, Ray Sean, and they ain't want to hire me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Oh,
yeah. You're right. You're
I
right.
I
Yeah.
didn't make the team because I
Hmm.
didn't make the team this year because they probably, it was maybe because I wore a hoodie and some baggy jeans and they ain't really like the way I talk. You know what I mean? So you start to make
Yeah,
excuses for your choices. And that's the victim mindset. And anytime you make excuses for your own choices, you'll never succeed. Because when you fall down and you don't take accountability for it, then how can you overcome? How can you truly understand why you fell in the first place? You know what I'm saying? How can you
yeah,
truly understand? Okay, if you're blaming it on, you apply for a job, you don't get the job, and you blame it on race. Well, maybe your resume just wasn't good enough. Well, maybe you just didn't do good and present yourself properly in that interview. So then, if you blame it on race, you would never be able to grow and see where you lacked at in a lot of areas. So a lot of people, a lot of Black people are in this victimhood where it literally holds them back. It hinders them, right? So, and that's why it's so dangerous. It's a dangerous mindset to have. And so that's one. The other part of it, right, is culturally as well. And it kind of sucks is because everyone is kind of in on it. And I'll speak about it in two ways. So you got the big thing is you got the black culture, you got hip hop, and then you have the Democrats in America, I would say, right? And they propagate this victimhood. They propagate this victim mindset. For an example, we all know that there were situations where a cop killed someone and he was truly unarmed, right? And maybe it was even a kid, but the kid was truly unarmed, and we like that's not good. This cop should definitely get arrested and lose his job or at least be put on trial because
Yep.
it was clear that the person was unarmed. The person, it wasn't any arguments or anything like that happening. It was fully like, well, why the heck did you shoot him? We all know that there's those, but there's not too many of those. That's the thing. And people conflate and confuse those situations with the situations where it's like, no, 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 this black person was actually truly irate and screaming back at that cop and threatening that cop. Well, guess what? Just like that black person has a family, right? And is a human, that cop is a human and has a family, but just a different shade of skin.
That's
That
true.
cop has
Yeah.
people to go home to. So the feminine mindset allows you to think usually one way. Think about it. Women can never truly understand a male's experience because our experience in life is truly different. We
Very.
have to assert ourselves and work to garner status, attention, and acquire value, right? So woman's value. So I'll say this: a man making money and having status affects his personal value and his sexual value. So since it affects our personal and sexual value, we have more in an incentive to go out there and make something of ourselves because we'll have a better personal value, higher value,
Facts.
and then we'll have higher sexual value. But for women, if they're asserting themselves, they only feel the personal value to it. So they'll have personal value when they're making money and stuff like that because they'll have more money to take more trips, buy better houses, and do things. So they'll have more personal value, but they don't acquire more sexual value. So that means that they don't really have an incentive to go out there and truly work as hard as men. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So men have
absolutely.
a burden of performance to perform. And that burden
Mm-hmm.
is because is that the things that we do, we need to do certain things to acquire personal and sexual value, both of them. So that's why women truly never can understand men. The thing is, men, we could truly understand women because we have
Yes.
to go through both.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is the mindset of the victimhood, right? It streams from a feminized mindset because you never look at the other side like females never look at the other side. So what I'm saying is the black people in a black community, they have a very feminized mindset because when these cop shootings go on, they only think about their side like a female would do. They only think, well, that's racism, that's this and this. Well, that's a very silly mindset, silly boy. There's a whole nother side of it. That cop was sent there to do his job, and he has a family to go home to as well. And he has a job to protect the community that he's living in. So, yeah, I know if you're going to be screaming at the cop and yelling back and not complying, not giving your license registration, not keeping your hands on the steering wheel, not making him feel safe in his job, then guess what, buddy? It isn't going to work out. It isn't going to work out. And then not only that, you have to be perspicacious enough. Black people got to be perspicacious enough to know that, well, I'm living in the hood. And a lot of these guys in the hood is gangbanging. And it's a lot of stuff going on. So let me put myself in a cop's shoes. So if I was a cop and I was a police officer protecting the community in the hood or protecting the community in the suburbs, of course I'm gonna look at it much different. Of course I'm gonna operate much different. Of course I'm gonna be like fully on point, much
That's a
different.
very
Like,
good
oh,
point.
don't do
That's
that.
a very good point. Yeah.
And the thing is because they looking at it from a feminized mindset. It's very
Mm,
narrow based. They're not looking at both sides. So, and that's what the victimhood, tends to make you do. You have a real narrow mindset. So I could break it down into multitude of different ways on how it affects dating and relationships, and then how it affects the man as well. I would say in the hip hop culture, that's another one. So that's society based, right? Those are the things that I'm sure it happens out in London too. Um, you get the cops and stuff, but y'all don't have guns out there. Does the cops
no,
have
there's no
guns?
guns. No, unless you're of a certain rank. Nah, no, no,
Certain
no,
rank.
no,
Yeah,
no.
that's a little
Yeah,
different out there, but y'all have a lot of
yeah,
knife crimes, I heard, right?
yeah, yeah.
But the knife
It gets
crimes,
wild. Yeah.
the knife crimes could be a little crazy because you could miss a shot, but close up, you can hit an organ and it's over.
It's
So
game over. Game
it's
over.
pros and cons to it. It's pros and
Mm,
cons. Yeah. So out here, we don't. No one's getting shanked with a knife unless they really in prison. You know what I mean?
that's
But
true. Yeah.
and for the most part. But anyways, I'll finish what I was saying. Right. So you got these aspects over here. So the hip hop culture. Now, mind you, I love hip hop. I do music currently, and I've done music in the past. I'm a music producer, a music artist. I write music. I make beats. I know how to fully engineer music. I know how to master a whole song and make it radio ready and all of that. So, but I love hip hop and I love music in general. I listen to country, pop. I listen to it all. I'm very musical. But in the hip hop community, it's crazy because, all right, I'll tell this to you, man. So this
Please.
is I just started thinking about this, and this play into exactly what we're speaking about. So everything is influence based. Influence is the most important power there is. Think about God and the devil, right? God is influencing you in righteous ways to take you on a good path. Not to take you on a good path, to take your family on a good path, the community, society, and the world on a good path. The devil will influence you. You may think it's a good path, but it's actually it would torment you in the future. So, I mean, I'm influencing you right now, and I'm probably influencing the audience right now, and we're influencing each other. So, people don't understand like how powerful influence is. So in the hip hop culture, their music literally influences people to do drugs, sell drugs, and kill other people. Country, it doesn't influence music. Country music, it influences no one to do degenerate behavior. Pop music, it doesn't influence anyone to do degenerate behavior. Rock music, it doesn't influence anyone to be drugs, yeah. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
degenerate behavior in a
Yeah.
rock. The killing people, there's none of that, no gang banging. The worshiping that devil worshiper stuff like that, it influencing people that way as well. But I would say the hip hop music is such a bad influence because like I truly don't believe anyone is born anything but what they are influenced to be. That's what I truly
Yeah.
believe. I don't think anyone
Mm,
is born gay. I don't think anyone is born transgender. I don't think anyone is born with any predetermined notions. I think that we are all born in a body that is biologically and have innate needs like to eat, to drink, to poop and pee, to have sex, to to be horny, to have passion, compassion, have empathy. We all have this body that is constructed for us to be something, right? But then we have free will. But free will supersedes our biology because a man is born a man and has the natural tendencies to be attracted to a small waist, wide hips, and a voluptuous one. But the influence that he receives, then since he has free will, his influence that he receives can then supersede what his biology makeup is, right? So then he would choose to be like, well, you know what? The small waist, that's fine. But I kind of like this masculine energy. I kind of want to go down this path. So he'll make a different choice, right? So what I'm saying is that that's how powerful influence is. And when we have music that's talking about, yeah, this and that, I sell this, my Percocets, Molly Percocets, when we got all of this music influencing our culture, yeah, for the majority of people listening to it, they could just be like, yeah, that's music. But then it's into the young kid's mind where their frontal lobe isn't even full yet.
Yeah.
Their frontal brain isn't even fully developed. And you're influencing these kids. And then not only that, it shows like status. So like we look at all boys, we all go for the guys that have the most status. We look at the big dogs, like I want to be like that dog. So if we have these people in a hip hop community that we look up as the big dog, of course we're going to mimic their behaviors and kind of, do what they've done to be like that big dog. So it's all an influence based, but what it does is, right, it creates the victim mindset. I'm going to get to that. So and the thing is that they know, all Black people know to a certain extent, because most Black people, we was raised Christian. You know what I mean? We was raised with, our mom and our, if the pops was in our life, but even our mom, and of course our grandmother telling us like, don't listen to that hip hop music, boy. Don't be, and especially for the millennials, Gen Z, their parents probably was making them listen to it. Who knows? It's a little bit different for Gen Z. Gen Z is a different story. Yeah, Gen Z is over for them. But at least for the millennials and the older people, people older than that, we had some guidance per se. Like, don't you listening to that music? That ain't good. We all had that before. We heard it before, but we still chose not to listen to our elders. And we were fully influenced by the music we were listening to. So we started sagging our pants. We started, maybe even wearing shoes with the tongue out and maybe really not lacing them good. And then since we're not lacing our shoes good and we don't want to crease our Air Force Ones, now we got bunions. Why so many Black people got messed up feet? Because they don't want to crease their shoes and their Jordans. But Timmy over there got some New Balances on. He don't give a freak about the New Balances. His feet perfectly fine. His feet, Timmy feet perfectly fine, but we don't want to like. So see how I'm starting. So we were influenced to the sneakers to keep them loose, laced up loose, and to not tighten them, and to not really crease them, to not really get them dirty. So yeah, we was fresh, but now our since they not laced up right, the curvature of our foot is rubbing against the shoe, and now we get bunions when we older. We got jacked up feet, and the women too in the Black community. Not all, but I'm saying we've seen some jacked up feet. You know what I'm saying? So now our community has bunions based off of what we were influenced by. Do you get what I'm saying? How crazy it is?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that's just one aspect. Now let's go into all the other aspects where you listening to the hip hop culture and they talking about drugs, they talking about guns. Now, little Joey around the corner, he got that thing on him. He got that 5 on him. You know what I mean? He walking around with that 5. Maybe he was being bullied and picked on a little bit, but he got that thing on him. Like, nah, man, he want to assert his dominance on other individuals. So he walking around with that thing on him, trying to be more masculine, thinking it's cool, thinking it's going to give him more status. And then he wound up pulling a trigger on someone off of an emotional response. You get what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of the crimes happen from. But not only that, that victim mindset is in that too, is because they think that there's no way out and that it's not their fault, it's someone else's fault. Why they're thinking the way they're thinking and why they're behaving the way they're thinking. Like, you got to think about it. Most people in the Black community really never blame their poor choices and their poor behaviors on themselves. They blame it on their upbringing. They blame it on,
Yeah.
okay, we know that the upbringing plays a part into some of the stuff.
Sure.
We know that, the culture and environment plays a part into some of the stuff. But you still have a choice. You are a human being of free will. You know what I mean? I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the projects. I left the projects when I was 13. I was born in the projects. I was born, raised around, I seen a dead body when I was what? I think I was like 7 years old. Damn. I seen my first dead body in the woods. When me and my boys was, back there, and I think I was like I was like 8. I was 8 years old. I seen a dead body in the woods, which then after I seen that dead body, my grandfather died when I was 8 years old, and I didn't even cry because I seen the dead body already before. I became desensitized to seeing a dead body right before my grandfather passed away. Mm-hmm. And I was the only person at the funeral that didn't cry. And I was 8 years old. My brother's crying. My uncle's crying. Everyone's crying. I was the only one at the funeral that didn't cry. And I didn't know that I was actually the strongest person at the funeral. I didn't know that as a little boy. And the desensitivity played a part into it. But also, I also knew as a young age that like I had to be strong. I had to be strong. And my father wasn't in my life. He left when I was 5 or like 4. I don't really have too many memories of him. Hold up, I'm getting a call real quick. Let me
Yeah, no worries.
How do I get out of this? Hold up. One second.
No worries.
All right, yeah, my bad.
Nah, all good.
So, and this is gonna play a part into it, right? So, I was raised in the hood, like I said, seen a dead body when I was 8. My grandfather died when I was 8 years old. He passed away. And I didn't even cry at the funeral. You know what I mean? Growing up in the hood, I had 3 brothers. We was the Cooley family. My 3 brothers was way older than me. I was the youngest. So I always had a name. My name was always important. My name was everything to me. Oh, Cooley, because when I was my brother played sports and all of that, so they had some type of hood status already. So my name was already important because they look at, oh, you the little Cooley, you a little chump. So I'm like, what? Who you talking to like that? I get my brother to beat you up, right? That didn't work though. My brothers didn't play that. They'd be like, you're not getting no one to beat. We not fighting your battles. Go out there and knock that little nigga out.
You gotta handle that. Yeah, you gotta handle that.
You gotta handle that yourself. And I remember at my first fight, I was 6 years old, and dude punched me in my face. I never felt a punch before, and he hit me he had to hit me about 10 times. Pop, 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 pop. And he was older than me. He had to have been like 8 years old.
Damn.
And I would just remember like, dang. And I ran home, and I got a bat. And I was so angry. I'm like, I'm about to, go out there and hit dude with a bat. And my brother stopped me like, what you doing, man? Give me this bat, little nigga. So he put my temperament down a little bit. And then he was like, listen, you ain't throw no punches in that fight. I was at the door looking at you. But mind you, we little and they older. So he looking at you like, you ain't even really swing. You ain't do nothing. You just let him hit you. you know how to fight. We taught you better than that. But I just really didn't have that. I didn't know that people could be so this is what I'm saying, right? I didn't know that people can be so like harsh and evil and have like full bad intentions for you, right? I didn't know that when I was 6 years old. But I knew that after that day. And from that day on, everything changed. So that's when I knew, because you got to think about it, right? When you in a ghetto or you in a hood, you know you really can't. If say you with a set, just for an example, Bloods and Crips, right? You know you can't really be gang banging around certain areas because niggas may be repping a different set than you. So they gonna pop off. They'll literally pop off on you just because you rep a different set. It makes no sense. But it all streamed back from I knew about all of this and that mindset of that emotional mindset of people trying to prove something, always want to prove something when I was very young. Because after that fight, I got into many fights more. And people, it was always a fight where a boy tried to prove a point, whether it's on a basketball court, the football court, the playground, or just chilling. Someone always had a point to prove. So I was always ready from that point. Oh, if I even seen it's about to happen, like a situation about to arise and it's about to go down, I'm popping off first. Boop, boop. They called me the two-piece wonder. I gave people the two-piece and a biscuit. I was the first one popping off early. But what that did was it instilled leadership traits in me because I was always getting in the fights as a young dude. The name Cooley rang bells from my older brother. So then I was leading people. But my first test, this is a story, right? It's literally like a David and Goliath story. My name is David. And in the projects where I'm from, at this time I was 12 years old. I don't think I had testosterone then because I ain't have no wet dream yet. So I don't know if I had my nut yet, but I don't know if it was there. But it was a bully in a projects where he used to bully people. He came into the projects. I was born in the projects, but he came into the projects more later, probably when I was around 10 years old. And he used to bully all my friends and everyone else. And mind you, Puda, now when I'm 12 years old, I had to been like, I was 11 or 12, but I think I was around like 5'6". I was pretty tall. I was like 5'6" already.
Damn.
And
wow. Okay.
And he was 16 years old. So I was like 11 and 12, and he was 16 years old, and he was way taller than me. He had to been like 6 foot because my mom is 5'10", and he was taller than my mom. So he was big dude, and meat on him as well. And the 2 years when he came to the projects, he came from Newark, I believe. He either came from Newark or Elizabeth. And when he came with his whole family too. And he used to always bully me and all my friends. And for me, on the aspect, he knew I had older brothers. So it was kind of like, I can't really mess with Cooley like that. But the thing is, I really couldn't do anything. I was hesitant to do things when he would bully my friends because he was much bigger. So even though he really wouldn't bully me so much, he would bully my friends. And that didn't really sit well with me. So we had many altercations where I'm like, yo, Keith, I'm gonna get my bros. But my brothers was older than him, so he was still looked at as a little dude to my brothers. But he was actually bigger than two of my brothers at that time because he was just a big boy, a big 16-year-old. So, anyways, he used to pick on my friends and pick on us, throw them in a dumpster, throw things at me. We'll play manhunt, and sometimes you play manhunt, and he'll make up different rules, like, oh, if you want to play manhunt, you got to get punched in the chest. I'm like, nah, ain't nobody punching me in the chest to play manhunt. We just gonna play. Then I ain't playing then. And if you even try to punch me in my chest, I'm popping off on you. Like I don't do that. I don't play no initiation. No one's being initiated nowhere over here. So I already had this. I always stood on something. You know what I mean? But anyways, 2 years go by and everyone hate Puda. Puda used to go into people's house. He used to steal stuff from people's parents' house. He used to steal people PlayStations and all of this type of stuff. He was like a menace in the projects, a kid menace that would just do bad things. He was already selling drugs at that age and doing a whole lot of bad things, and always picking on the little kids. But even the bigger kids was scared of him too because he was a big boy. So it's a David and Goliath story I'm getting to. So one day I'm in a crib. Tomb Raider had just came out. I think it was Tomb Raider. Was it Tomb Raider? Maybe it was. How old are you?
I'm 26.
26. Maybe you know about the game Tomb Raider, don't you?
Of course.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this was PlayStation 1. PlayStation just had came out. I think I'm playing Tomb Raider at that time. I can't remember, but I'm playing some game and I'm in it. And in a projects, we got a door, but then we got one of them screen doors. And we put the lock on our screen door because we in the hood. People just like to open it up, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one day I'm playing a game, no one's home, but my big brother, he upstairs. My big brother do music, so he had his headphones on. So, but I'm playing a game. Puda walks past the house and I kind of see because he like sneak his head in a door, like in a screen. And I'm like, this guy. But I'm thinking the screen is locked anyway, but I'm not even worried about that because I'm playing a game. I'm going in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then all I hear is a boom. He busts through the door. The door happened to not be locked, though. He happened to not be locked, but that's how he busts through the door. So he busts through the door, swing the door open. And while I'm playing the game, I just drop my controller like, yo, bro, what you get out of my house? What you doing? Get out. And then I yell up to my brother. I didn't know he had his headphones on, but I know my big brother upstairs. I'm screaming to my brother like, yo, Joe, put it in the house. Come down, put it in the house.
And he can't hear you.
He can't hear me. And I'm screaming. And then Puda like, yeah. So now this Puda like, he looking at me like, yeah, I always wanted you. Now me and you alone. You don't got no brothers here. You about to get this work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's either fight or flight for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then I'm thinking, so first he says he about to get this work. And I back up from my game. He takes the game, like he don't take the controller. He takes the whole thing, like the cords and all of that, from my PlayStation. And it ain't even mine. It's like my mom bought it for the whole house. So it's like my brothers and everybody. So this is the first PlayStation. Everyone gassed up.
Yeah.
When he touched that PlayStation, I was like, bro, I got even heated. Yo, put my PlayStation down. And then he dropped the PlayStation, literally dropped it on the floor. And he came up to me. The strength of God came. I cocked it back to Africa. Boom, one hit. Laid him out. Listen, I knocked him out, fully knocked out. He was sleeping. He was knocked out. After I knocked him out on the floor, my brother comes running down like, yo, what's going on? What's all this noise? Because it was like a big boom. He broke the table and everything. So I punched him. He fell on the table broke and all that. It was glass everywhere. And my brother came running down. He was like, yo, what happened? What happened to Puda? What you do to him? I'm like, bro, he was trying to steal the PlayStation, man. I had to knock him out. So then my brother like, oh, you knocked out Puda. So then my mom come home, maybe about, now mind you, he's still on the ground. He out cold, like sleep, right? So my brother checked him, like, yeah, he breathing. So then my mom come home like maybe 15 minutes later. He still sleep on the ground. Then my mom is like, oh, well, what happened? I told her what happened. So then they dragged him outside. He's still sleeping, still out cold, bro. Like I fully knocked him out. And after that is what I'm saying. The whole projects respected me. Everybody respected me. I garnered the attention and the respect from not just my friends to lead them, and also the older heads as well. They all looked at me as that. And the fights, I used to always get in the fights. And I won all of my fights, I would say, besides that first one. But after that situation, I didn't have to fight no more. No one wanted to fight me at all. But not only that, Puda was scared of me. So I got all my friends. This is what I did one time. I said, yo, remember he used to bully y'all? He don't want to fight me. And everyone know I knocked out Puda. So I had that status. Yo, you got
Yeah,
Cooley
yeah.
knocked you out, Puda. I had that status in the hood. All the kids like, yo, Cooley, Cooley. They all representing me, right? So
That must have
then
been so lit.
I get all my friends, right? I'm like, yo, we gonna get water balloons and water guns, right? Water balloons and water guns. And when we see Puda, this y'all revenge. He not gonna do nothing to y'all because if he do anything, he know what's gonna happen to him. Because now
Mm,
I was the big dog. So I got all
mm,
my friends to get the water guns and water balloons, right? And eggs. Some of them got eggs and everything. And they all just when they seen him, everyone's throwing water balloons and eggs at him. I mean, his whole body was full of water and eggs, and I think people even threw other stuff like powder. Who knows? I seen everything threw at him. But ever since that day, it was like a huge moment in my life where it was like, wow. It was like a true David and Goliath story where it's like,
mm.
yo, I defeated Goliath. And ever since then, throughout all my life, because that was that only thing that I would say I was scared of him for for a portion of my life. And the only reason why I wasn't like very scared is because I had my brothers. Like, if worst case scenario, I know he ain't gonna really do anything, or I know if he really do something, my brothers will get him.
Yeah,
But
of
this
course.
situation, I did it. I took full responsibility in my own hands.
Responsibility.
And then that ever from then, I've really never suffered from the victim mindset so much as other Black people. I definitely suffered from it in other ways, but I never suffered from it like when it came to situation with cops. I never suffered from anything. When it came from, I
Hmm.
never drink. I don't drink, smoke. I never sold drugs. I never gang bang. I never did any of that degenerate behavior. And a lot of it did come from that because once I got that respect, I was I wasn't as easy to be influenced because then I was
Mm.
able to influence people. Get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
No, that makes sense. That makes a
since I
lot
was
of
looked at
sense.
as the big dog, I wasn't really able to be influenced because my self-confidence was higher. So if people would be trying to influence me, it couldn't penetrate me. Because I already looked
Yeah.
at like, yeah, but I'm like not better than you, but it's like you ain't did what I did. You still a little dog.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
because I still had that street mentality. Like, yeah, you got to earn your stripes. I earned mine.
Hmm.
So whatever stuff y'all getting into, I don't got to get into that because I earned my
Mm.
stripes. So it kind of
For
made me
sure.
be more, have a stronger shield to those bad influences. But yeah, man, I land my plane
Absolutely.
there.
Nah, man, that was an amazing story.
Yeah,
Nah,
man.
true David and Goliath story. The irony as well, given the name as well. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah, man.
Oh,
It
that's
was
dope,
crazy. It was
man. You
crazy.
know what? I got to ask the question, Cooley. Because we spoke of, and you got a son and a daughter, right?
Yeah,
So, given the world that we're living in with social media and all this craziness that's going on, what sort of lessons are you trying to teach your son and your daughter, and also men and women in general? Like, what
yeah, man.
outcomes do you want to see, especially through your podcast as well? What you do? It's kind of a loaded question, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So, the world, like you said, is pretty crazy right now.
Hmm.
Um, so one of the main things that my son is young. He's only 5 months. Today he's 5 months. But my
Congratulations.
daughter, thank you, man. My daughter, she's 11 years old. So my daughter is who I'm really teaching and who I've been training and instilling certain behaviors and traits in. Um, and one of those things is since she was able to speak, I always taught her mind control. It was a word that I use, mind control. This is something that she can understand. Like, you have a mind, right? And you have dreams when you go to sleep. So that's your mind. That's when you have dreams. Like, you have things you want to eat. That's your mind telling you that, oh, you have this craving of snacks. I used to instill those little things into her. Like, you got to control your mind. You have to have mind control. So even when you're upset and you want to do this, but I say, hey, not right now, you got to have mind control and not get so emotional, right? So mind control is pretty much um, having the ability to look at things from a logical perspective rather than a feelings, emotional based perspective, right?
Of course.
Because anytime you looking at things from a feelings based emotional perspective, you're gonna be cruising for a bruising. But if you're thinking more logical about things and you're looking at the risk of things and the pros and the cons of things, you'll be able to make better decisions in your life. So that's one of the things that I've always instilled into my daughter. The other things that I've instilled into my daughter and that I will continue to instill into her is the ability to critically think about things. So
Definitely.
the thing is, I really can't stop the influence right now, right? You really can't stop it. I could take the phone away, no Snapchat, no anything. But then she goes to school and her friends that's influenced by the Snapchat and the YouTube and the TikTok, they're still going to propagate their mindset onto my daughter.
Onto your
So
daughter,
it's
yeah.
no way around it, right? The only thing that I could teach my daughter is to have mind control and to critically think about things, have free thought, meaning that, yeah, even though your teacher may think this way or your friends may think this way, well, they're not God. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be believing in things. Don't just be following things of what people say. Actually think about it and see if it's a good thing, right? So those are some of the things that I instill into my daughter now, which keeps her away from all that degenerate type behavior that she could be indulging in. Also, she's an extremely smart girl. You know, she may be on her phone for a little bit, but she'll be like, I had too much time on my phone. I'm about to just, do this. I'm about to make these bracelets, or I'm about to. She does little other things. She's in cheering right now. She plays. I have her in the sports. I have her in is cheering and basketball because my daughter, she's about 5'4" already, and she's 11, so she's tall.
11.
Yeah, she's
5'4".
5'4", 5'4", 11 years old. She's a tall girl.
But then again, your mom was 5'11", right?
My mom was 5'10".
5'10", 5'10".
Yep. And then my
So
sister, I got two sisters. One of my sisters is 6 foot. My other sister is 5'11", and I got a brother. My brother's like 5'9". He's the shortest one. One of my brothers is 5'9", and then my other brother is 6 foot, and my other brother is 6'3".
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are, we
Yeah.
are pretty tall.
No,
So
definitely.
so that's what I'm talking about. And for a kid, and a kid it's a little different. The way you instill certain things into them, you have to make it in a way where they understand. So that's why I use the word mind control, so she can be in control of her mind, so she's not so susceptible to being influenced in bad ways, right? Culturally, and in my podcasts and stuff like that, what I'm doing for men and women is much different. So I do my podcast for a multitude of reasons. One, I'll say this: the podcast called No Fugazi, it wasn't really, I didn't make it to be a dating and relationship podcast. I kind of made it, I was really going to talk about a lot of with the Black culture and a lot of politics, because I go deep on the politics too. Like I said, I've been in many debates on Clubhouse and stuff like that, and done a lot of research on things, right? So that's what the podcast was going to be on. But then when I was talking about the dating and relationships aspect, I just seen that that's more attractive right now or more appealing. So I'm like, okay, I'll get into the dating and relationships, but in a few months, you'll see me start leaning towards some other topics and other discussions rather than me bringing on a bunch of girls. I'll still be bringing on the girls. I'm still gonna bring on the chicks, but I'm still gonna do other segments where I'm speaking about culture and I'm speaking about politics as well. So to answer your question, I would say that the basis of my podcast is truly to explain male and female intersexual dynamics and the difference of it. What a man is attracted to doesn't necessarily mean that the woman is attracted to those same traits in him, and vice versa.
It's asymmetrical. Right? It's not symmetrical attraction.
It's not symmetrical. Yep.
Yeah, because
Yep,
sorry, because I wanted to expand on your point as well, because I think a lot of women they make the mistake of thinking because they look for those traits in us that we look for those traits in them. When
exactly.
it's complete, the things that we look for are completely
Yeah,
different.
attraction isn't symmetrical, it's asymmetrical.
It's
So it's just
asymmetrical.
we look for
Mm,
different things in one another.
yeah.
And society has lied. So I do the podcast because the podcast, so people could say like, oh, well, you're trying to be like Fresh and Fit and other things like that. Well, it's we already have this. I'm like, well, silly, 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 silly. Uh, just because there's a Fresh and Fit who I respect what they've been doing and what they
Yeah.
brung to the space and to the male self
Hmm.
improvement. Them dudes are gonna be legends if they're already not
Yes.
from what they did
Hmm.
into the male podcast space and what they
Absolutely.
brung into the space. Just like we would say Kevin Samuels is a legend. We would call him that in the male self-improvement and
Hmm.
dating and relationship space. We would have to give those same kudos to Fresh and Fit and the things that they've
Definitely.
accomplished. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we would be silly to say that we don't need more. And we would be silly to think that Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels was able to garner the attention and the influence to all the billions of people in the world, right? We'd be silly to think that. And we would be
Yeah.
silly to think that we are winning the battle. We would be silly to think that
Mm.
the masculine excellence and the masculine tendencies and the masculine influence is winning the battle of
Hmm.
influencing society. We are actually losing that battle. So, if
Yes.
anything, we need more masculine men to create more content to influence good traits in men and women, right? If anything, we need
Absolutely.
more of that. So,
Hmm.
people could say all they want. Oh man, you copying this? I'm not copying anyone. We need more of it. One, and one, the mindset didn't come from a Kevin Samuels, a Fresh and Fit, or any of that. This mindset was one, bro. Do you know Bill Burr? Bill,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
comedian. You know Chris Rock.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know uh
Dave
what's his
Chappelle.
name? Oh, Dave Chappelle. Comedians been speaking about male and female intersexual dynamics for the
Yeah.
longest. so it's like
Exactly. Yeah.
so it's like
Mm.
what do you mean that Kevin Samuels or someone came up with these with this mindset? It was already
Mm-mm.
here.
It's
I had a dude in my
there. It's
hood used
been
to tell
there.
me. I had dudes in the hood used to tell me all the time, like, "Yo, these girls are skanks. Don't go for these type of women. They gonna bring you nothing but headaches." So I've heard it all before. I heard the talking points all before too, right? I just really never, now that I'm in a space, I'm just utilizing the stuff that I learned from the past. And then you also got to make things palatable in a way where people understand it. So it's very simple. Great minds kind of think alike. And great minds kind of, speak in certain ways. Like when you get to a certain point where you could truly understand something, there's only a, there's only a several analogies you can come up with, right? So of course, sometimes we'll have the same analogy.
Mm.
It's not that I'm copying someone's
No, no, you're
analogy.
right.
It's
You're
like, bro,
right.
you thought of it. I thought I was saying this years ago when I was debating people in
Yes.
Clubhouse.
Yes.
So it's not
Yes.
like I'm stealing the analogy. But even
Hmm.
when I do give people kudos. Like um Rich Cooper. Sometimes I'll take an analogy where he says, women wait at the finish line and women wait at the finish
Yeah.
line and smash the
Yeah. Yeah.
winners. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I'll give him his props on that. Like in the podcast, if I mention it, I'll say Rich Cooper. Um, if I mention the Kevin Samuels analogy, his is like so general though for the most part. Besides like buy a dog and die alone.
Die
I never
alone.
said
Yeah.
that, but but just those.
Yeah.
We get used to some of those. I never used it, but I probably will and give him his
Yeah.
kudos too. But the same thing, Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels and the other people that's in a space, the Rolo Tomasis and things like that. And
Yeah.
like people like to say, like, oh well, this person is the godfather of certain things. I'm like, well, True to some people. To the people that wasn't a natural, those people probably are the Godfather.
Yeah.
They are the Godfather. But listen, you ain't teach me none of this because I was a natural. So to me, it was like Kevin Samuels wasn't even the Godfather of anything. It was like he just speaking about something that I was already doing anyway,
Yeah.
doing in silence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
the
at the
truth.
end of the day, you got to give them the flowers because
Of course.
they really took it apart. Rollo Tomasi, he's a bright
Yeah.
dude. I recommend his book. I recommend his book to
The
some of
rational
the
mouth.
people that I Rational Male, yeah. Some of
Yeah.
the people that
Yeah.
I coach men, and I'm like, yo, this book will help you out because they're not naturals, so they don't get it.
Mm.
They need the Rollo
Yeah.
Tomasi, they need the
Mm.
Kevin Samuels. So there's a
Definitely.
space for the people that aren't. And the thing is, why my podcast is growing, and just for me, it's growing, and I'm gaining a lot of respect because everyone can see I'm a natural. You see how I don't get emotional with these women when I speak to them. I'm
Yeah.
just speaking to them. I'm not looking to smash them, so I'm able to speak to them in a very direct
Of
manner
course. Yeah.
where I'm not ever looking to hit. So if they are happen to start wild out, I'm like, yo, get out of here.
Yeah.
I never call them a B word. I never cuss a woman out. I never, really try to assert any true dominance on a woman at all because one, I'm a natural and I don't, it's like, it's not even in me to do that. Like I already
Yeah.
look at women for being women and I
Mm-hmm.
always did. And that's how my podcast has been growing. That's from what I've seen in the comments. That's what people say. That's the difference. How I operate my podcast. That's what's different than maybe the Fresh and Fit and stuff like that. They just say, "Well, you and Myron are pretty alike in a lot of ways," but they'll be like, "You just a much you're not as temperament as Myron." But I much respect the Myron. I think he does a great job, and I think his temperament is fine because
Yeah.
he deals with a different girls than I do. He deals with the girls that's in Miami, and
In
all of them are
Miami. Yeah.
delusional.
Yeah.
I deal with girls I have girls that came from Miami too, but he deals with it like every night he would have some crazy 304 wilding. For me, I don't
Mm.
have that every night. I'll have that
Yeah.
like maybe once a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
different. So I know he could be very impatient. Like, what's going on? But
Mm.
yeah, man. And I know that's a lot of criticism that he gets. But if he ever watches this, you know, he'll know that I give him props to how he handles the
Shout to
females in
Marvin
the
Games, man.
podcast. Yeah, man.
Nah, he's been someone that's been killing it as well, man. But and that's the thing I was even gonna ask because I mean you pretty much every single thing that I've had here you pretty much answered in and of itself. So
Yeah, yeah.
um like because one of the things that I've been thinking is like these are things that men have been saying for years. It's just like a lot of men. Do you find that a lot of men are on don't want to speak up because of getting cancelled? You know, what's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think for the most part,
Because like I said, a lot of men, majority of men, a lot of the things that you're saying hits home because they
yeah.
agree with it and they have that same mindset.
Yeah, I think for the most part, all human beings are naive to a certain extent.
Mm,
And I think most men, even the naturals and the people that aren't naturals, are naive when it comes to female nature. And I think I'm just gonna go back. Most men, too. Here's the facts. Even the naturals, most men they think that attraction is symmetrical. So like they true like since it's so different and we are different, like we just look for different things in one another. So
exactly. Yeah.
I don't really think that I just think it all stems back from men tend to think that men and women are alike. So since they think that men and women, and not only think that, it all stems to think that men and women are alike. So nice guys finish last is because they thinking like, oh, well, girls, I like her to be nice. So I want, let me
Yeah.
be nice. So that's where
That's
it
true.
all streams from.
That's a good
So,
point.
and
That's
that's
true.
why that's the part that I focus on. And the reason why I got into this space too, like once again, I told you I was very perspicacious about it. I knew exactly what I was doing. Like I knew Fresh and Fit reach, and I knew Kevin Samuels reach, and the people around me and the places where I would go, they had no knowledge of the reality. And I
Mm-hmm.
already knew the reality, but when I'll be like, yo, you don't know these simple things about, like you shouldn't be pedestalizing the female when you're talking to her. You shouldn't be, you could do it, but you're gonna be cruising for a bruising. Like something is
Yeah,
gonna like
that's true.
she's gonna punish that behavior. So
Definitely.
what I've noticed is just that guys take even naturals would take L's. Like I know my one man's pretty boy, blue eyes, light skin poppy, drive nice cars and all of that, but still take L's when it comes to
Mm.
can't retain a girl because like you doing it wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like you're too
Yeah.
nice about certain things, or you're giving too much attention away. So it's like that's why you failing, and that's why
Mm.
she gonna go off with another nigga. So
Yeah.
for the most part, like I said, and the reason why I do the podcast, well, the main things I focus on is male and female intersexual dynamics. That attraction isn't symmetrical, is asymmetrical,
It's
and that
asymmetrical.
we are different. We are different biological. We have biological differences, and we're hardwired biologically very differently. So our
Hmm.
mating strategies are just totally different. You
Different.
get what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's totally different.
Hmm.
So that's what I focus on. And that's where I think most men in general fail to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
definitely.
also, right, when you think about this, right? Once you know that men and women are different, think of where that mindset, think how far you take that to and how far it expands out. Because when you know that men and women are different, and you know that women tend to be more emotional than men, and you know that women tend to not really be able to tend to not be able to speak directly, tend to not be able to make uh, decisive decisions. They're very
Yep.
indecisive on the things that they do. Then you tend to start to think that, well, that type of mindset, if the world was ran that way, it would lead us this way. But with this type of mindset, a more logical, rational mindset that is decisive and assertive, and that is having the ability to critically think about things without using emotions first, you'll think that that mindset has the capability of leading society. So then you'll be left and right. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
You'll either be on the
Yeah. Yeah.
democratic
Yeah. Yeah.
mindset, going down that path into delusion, and to think, well, however you feel is okay. But however you feel can be wrong. So that means
Hmm.
that it's not okay. You
It's
get what I'm
not.
saying?
Yeah.
So,
Agreed. Agreed.
and I know this is because I literally seen it, like I seen it transpire in myself, and I
Hmm.
also seen it transpire into other men. I seen it
Yeah.
transpire into me when I first started making more money and I got in the gym. So first I got in the
Hmm.
gym, right? So I was 140 pounds. I started working out when I was like 26. I got to like 180 pounds. And I seen that the attention that I was able to garner from women was much different. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm getting head and the chick grabbing my abs. I'm like, wait, what? Grabbing my arms. I'm like,
And then
okay.
and to add to that, 6'4", good looking, and you're
Yeah.
making money. Now you got a frame as well.
Yeah. And now I got the frame. So I'm like, okay, this is different. So I get to 180 pounds, but this is before I was making bread. I was making like $20 an hour. But I got to 180 pounds and I'm going out and I'm like, my shirts is fitting tighter now and nice. And I'm like, okay, like they
Yeah.
chicks is digging it. And then I start making $100,000 a year and I'm 200 pounds. And I'm looking, is the levels of
Yeah.
the class of girls you can attract is totally different.
Mm.
Totally different, bro. You just garner the attention from better quality women, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because
I hear that.
men are only I mean, they only choose what they can attract. They only get what they can
Of
attract.
course.
You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So,
No, definitely, definitely, man.
and so
100%, man.
when I seen that in myself, that it, those changes, I'm like, wait, I gotta help men with this too, because like, bro, just get in the gym. Trust me,
Mm,
it's like this, right? Most men, competence leads to accomplishments, which then leads to confidence. And when you have
confidence.
that confidence, you have the ability to be able to have an abundance mindset. But you have to create your abundance mindset. Once you create your abundance mindset, then you have the ability to be intolerant of female inadequacies, right?
Mm,
But most men, they don't really have an abundance mindset because they haven't really accomplished anything, right? So since they don't have an abundance mindset, like an abundance mindset just means you don't even have to have a lot of Jones on your roster, but you got to have that abundance mindset and that confidence where when you go out, it's you could pull something. It's gonna be
mm.
fairly easy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when you got that abundance mindset, and it works better if you really got options in that abundance mindset, then you're not gonna tolerate a female talking back to you. You're not gonna tolerate her still posting thirst traps on her page when you're taking her seriously or something like that. You're not gonna tolerate her talking back to you in Walmart in front of the public, right? You're not
Mm,
gonna tolerate those poor behaviors and poor decisions from women when you
yeah.
truly have an abundance mindset. Now, the thing is that men have to work to inquire their abundance mindset.
Yeah.
So this is what I teach men. I say, bro, women are born with their abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already the reason why she was able to get over you because she already got the abundance
Yeah.
mindset. She's born
Yeah.
with her value. She's born with her
Mm-hmm.
sexual value. She got Tyrone, Kendall, Tyrese, Nick,
Chad, all of them.
Jad, Trav. She got all of those dudes in her DMs waiting. So the
Mm,
moment you mess up or the moment you're lacking in your assertive and your dominance and in your leadership, she will look for a better mate.
yeah.
That's just what it is because she
Mm-hmm.
has an abundance mindset. And social media helps the female out with this more than it helps men out with it.
Of course.
So
Absolutely.
that's the huge thing. So once like men have to understand that the only reason why they're choosing these poor women, that these women that have bad behavior and these lower class women, is because they don't have an abundance mindset and they're
Mm-hmm.
just tolerating they don't even have the ability to be intolerant of her behavior because they have a scarcity mindset. Like, well, if she breaks up with me, what I'm gonna do next? Because they have no abundance, so they're just tolerating this poor behavior from the woman. But if they have an abundance mindset, they'll have the ability to be intolerant. And the only reason why it needs to go this way is because men have testosterone and our sexual need is much higher and
That's true.
greater than a
Yeah.
woman's. So we
Mm,
always want to satisfy we have these sexual tendencies that we need to satisfy and that we need to feel comfortable with, that we're going
mm-hmm.
to be able to have sex the next day or the week after.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Of
So
course.
since we have these sexual tendencies, if we don't have the abundance mindset, then we'll start tolerating the poor behavior because we're like, I still want cheeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The
That's a
female,
good point.
she doesn't experience any of that because one, her sexual tendencies and everything isn't as potent as a
Mm,
man's. And then she already has an abundance mindset because she got options. So she could just, why do
yeah.
you think females get over guys so easily in relationships?
Yeah.
Why do you
Mm-hmm.
think 80% of the divorces are initiated by women?
How far about women? Yep. Yep. Mm,
Because they got an
yeah.
abundance. They always
Mm-hmm.
look to females, the glass is always half full.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
No, my glass is half full, but that's the thing. I need men to have that abundance mindset to think that their glass is half full too instead of half empty.
Mm-hmm.
Because right
Yeah.
now, most men think that their glass is half empty, so they're tolerating poor behavior from these promiscuous women. They're literally, I
Mm-hmm.
got friends that date strippers and date girls from OnlyFans. I'm like you really taking them serious, bro? What are you doing? Because
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
they had no competence accomplishments and any true confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got that fake confidence. That fake
Yeah.
confidence is like, yeah, you got the charisma to maybe scoop a girl off her feet, but guess the type of girl you scooping off her feet? She's a stripper. So you only had
Yeah.
the capability to bag a hot stripper, which she's
Nah.
not really gonna
Yeah.
respect you anyway. She's still gonna be stripping. That's
Yeah.
disrespect. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? So yeah, man.
Nah, bro. You dropped a lot of gems in that one, man. Bro, I got asked this question, man. We're winding down 2023. What more can we expect from David Cooley? And like, what's the goals for the end of 2023 and going into 2024?
Yeah, so man, the goal is to, so I haven't even really been live streaming too much. But because I really haven't been in the technical part of figuring it out, but
hmm
I got a better team now, fired some people, hired some new people. So I'm gonna start live streaming every podcast starting this week. Episodes is gonna be Tuesdays. Well, my first live stream this week is gonna be Thursday, but my episodes is gonna be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. At 8:30 p.m. Those are gonna be the days: Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, 8:30 p.m. I'm gonna be live streaming. That's definitely gonna help grow my YouTube base.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah.
my social media base, as far as my Instagram and my Facebook, I'm already making, like 10K a month off Facebook alone because I get
Ooh,
so many views and so I'm bigger than Fresh and Fit on Facebook. That's the crazy thing.
wow. Okay,
Yeah, like
damn.
all my videos go crazy, get crazy views. My clips go viral. Pretty much what 8 out of 10 clips I post, go viral with hundreds of thousands of views, if
Yeah.
not millions of views. I post little short clips, like maybe 5 to 10 minute clips on Facebook as well. Those garner thousands of views as well. So Facebook, I'm killing it on there.
hmm
My YouTube, I'm at 32,000 subscribers on YouTube. Still trying to pick that up because that's where the real money comes in from. All
hmm
the views and attention that I'm getting on Facebook, if I was getting on that on YouTube, I'll be making real bank. Um,
Ooh,
and it's not even the whole money aspect for me, man, because I'm already financially successful. I'm already good.
yeah.
Like I said, I'm in the medical field, so I make money that way as well. So I'm fine. I do this because I know that women need to hear the truth, men need to hear the truth, and God, the only way to God is through truth. So it is a very spiritual God aspect in the stuff that I do as well. I'm pretty sure if you watched any full episodes, I always speak about
Of
God
course.
in one way or
hmm
another.
Yeah.
And men lead, women follow. God over man, man over woman, woman over children. That's just the order of life. So if we need to help out men in this society and get them on the right path, where by helping out men, it would help out the women and it would help out children, it would
Definitely.
help out society, it would help out our communities and everything like that. So yeah, man, I'm just making this content, putting out the truth as much as I can. Like I said, I'm doing a dating and relationship content. I'm going to get into more of the politics. I'm going to get into more of the cultural stuff with the victim mindset and all of that within the Black community. Going to touch on a lot of those things, and yeah, so that's what they can expect from me, man.
Nah, Cooley, I appreciate
I
this, man.
also,
Mm.
I I was invited out to be on Michael Sartain's podcast and Rolo Tomasi's
Ooh,
podcast called Access Vegas. I was actually supposed to do that last month,
oh,
actually,
that's
but
dope.
yeah. So I was
That's
invited
lit.
on there.
That's
I just
lit.
got to chop it up with them and set up an actual date. They actually reacted to one of my clips as well
Oh, is
on their
it?
podcast. Yeah. They reacted to it.
Oh, okay.
They reacted to it when Zerka was on there. Zerka
Oh,
was wilding.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zerka was wilding doing his thing, and they reacted to one of my clips. I was like, "That's respect. I
That's
appreciate that." So
dope, man.
I got a whole lot of respect to them dudes over there. So I I got invited out to be on Deontay Wilder's. You know Deontay Wilder, the boxer.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder's wife.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder's wife invited me out to in LA to be on her podcast. Um, I got invited out to Hardly Initiated in Atlanta. So I got invited out to some pretty decent
Yeah.
big podcasts. So I'm gonna plan on taking those trips maybe within maybe the new year or before the new year. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just set up like a tour for me to do all these
Mm.
podcasts. Cause I really need to do that because then my message would get out and
Oh,
my
definitely.
personality would get out. Because a lot of people tell me like, "Yo, you need to be on." with Fresh and Fit and where Zerka at. I'm like,
That's what I've been thinking though. When I listen to your content, I'm like, you need to be there. Like, you know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
A lot of people hit me up and they tell me that. I'm like, well, Zerka, he took the path of really just, he got the shock value, and he understands the basics of intersexual dynamics. You know what I'm saying? He understands the
Yeah,
basics, and he understands, I would say, even beyond the basics. He can talk about a lot of topics, which is real
that's
good.
true. Yeah,
And
that's true.
the process he used, he didn't really start his own podcast. He kind of does his streaming, so he's real big on in the streaming world.
Hmm.
Um, but he garnered a lot of attention by going on all of these different podcasts and really like
Yeah.
bringing that shock value. So I understand that plays a huge part into the success of what you're doing as well. But for
Definitely.
me, I really didn't like strive to really take that route so fast, is because
Mm,
I'm like, I kind of got to build my podcast up
of
first,
course.
because
Definitely. I hear you.
to get on certain these podcasts, they make you pay. You got to
Mm,
pay to get on them. Oh yeah, you
yeah.
want to get on Fresh and Fit, you got to drop the bag. If you're not real popular or showing that, okay, well, how can how can it be an even trade? Well, Fresh and Fit is it could possibly be kind of a more so of a trade, because they're moving over to Rumble now and they're less on
Mm,
YouTube.
that's true.
But uh it really can't be an even trade because they have so much attention. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah, my Facebook is popping. Well, but most of my Facebook followers, they don't even know about Fresh and Fit.
Mm.
That's the
Oh,
thing. So I already built up my cult following. You get what I'm saying? Like
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Zerka built up his cult following from when he used to do his streams. I built
Okay.
up my cult following from Facebook.
On Facebook.
So so to get on Fresh and Fit or get on one of these bigger podcasts, like a whatever podcast, they'll probably charge
Oh,
me right
yeah.
now thousands
Hmm.
of dollars. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's
Hmm.
cool. I have the bread to pay the money, but it's like, do I even have to do that right now? Or can I
Yeah.
just keep putting in work where they view it as it'll be an equal value exchange?
That's a good point.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a really good
So
point.
I'm not really
Definitely.
worried about it. When they actually, when I get to the point, they'll reach out. I'll be in contact with Fresh and Fit and all of these people,
Hmm.
especially when I do my other routes of the podcast that want me to be on, the podcast that's
Yeah.
flying me out. I'll also be on tonight's conversation as well. I'm not sure if you've seen that podcast.
No, 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 no.
Tonight's conversation, yeah, I'll be the villain on there. It's a big podcast. I would say tonight's conversation is as big as Fresh and Fit, but in the blue pill space.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
yeah,
a good
yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely check that one out. Yeah, yeah.
They're big in the
Mm,
and it's I wouldn't even say blue pill, but they're bright dudes, very smart. And I
mm,
respect all those dudes over there. But and they do hold women accountable when on certain things and stuff like that, but they have a different approach, which me and you and most red pill people will view it as blue pill.
yeah.
But I can't actually say they're fully blue pill, but I'm just saying the only
Hmm.
way you can understand it is by saying that they're blue pill to an extent where
Yeah.
they would pander to women more than what the red pill space would pander to women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
No, that
there's
makes
no
sense.
pandering over here to the women or the men.
Hmm.
We hold everyone
Hmm.
accountable,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And we give the perspectives on both sides.
On
Like,
both
okay,
sides.
well, the reason this is why the guy is failing here because he's not masculine. This is why you fell in here because you was a stripper.
Hmm.
And you got a promiscuous
Yeah.
past. And like
Yeah.
we speak very directly in a red pill space. And the blue pill space, it's not really so direct speaking. So I've been
Yeah.
invited on that podcast. I'm gonna do that for sure because those are good dudes over there. They're smart. They're intelligent. Trust
Yeah.
me. Don't ever think like the blue
Yeah.
pill guys aren't intelligent. Think about
Hmm.
Destiny. as an
Definitely, yeah,
example.
yeah.
He's blue pill.
That's a good shot.
He's blue pill, but he's a smart man.
He's
So
very intelligent.
don't
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
don't ever
He's good.
undermine
Yeah,
just
definitely,
because they viewing things differently, that they don't have a logical perspective that they can't,
definitely.
bring out to be like, okay, it'll be a little hard to attack that. Let me think
Mm,
about this. So
yeah,
that's all fair. And I'm gonna definitely go on that podcast and debate everybody.
that's gonna be dope.
I'm gonna be the villain.
I'm gonna definitely watch that. Definitely, definitely. You know what? Cooley, I gotta ask you a few questions before we wrap it up. Yeah, just some quick hitters, just some quick ones.
Yeah.
Ah, top five creatives. You've mentioned a few that in the space, but top five creators that you'd like to work with, like collab with.
Uh yo, man, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even have a top five.
Okay.
Because the reason why I don't, because I'm I'm a natural, and no one, I didn't gravitate towards anyone. Like I wasn't a
Mm,
fanboy of anyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a
okay.
fanboy
Yeah.
of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So but podcasts that I respect and that I watch
Mm-hmm.
and that I've watched before, um I would say definitely it would be a cool collaboration with Michael Sartain and Roland Tomasi. I think
Okay.
that'd be
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
that's
dope.
one that I
That'd be
want to
lit.
do. And
Mm-hmm.
their subscriber base isn't even real big like that. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have like, a million subscribers and stuff like that. But I respect those men and their mental mind frame and their
Yeah.
intelligence. So that's something that I just want to do. Um, I would say uh Andrew Tate, of course, he's a definitely a person that I respect. He doesn't really have like a podcast where he brings people on, but
Yeah.
if he beats the case and he's able to come back out to the States, I'll try to get him on mine.
Yeah. No,
So
that's a
it'll be
good
something
shout.
like
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Um, other than that, Fresh and Fit, of course, I
Of
respect them
course.
dudes.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, really that's about it as far as the people that I want to do content with, as far as their platforms. People that I want to have on my podcast, like I want to do a podcast with Jordan Peterson. I want
Oh,
to do
you
a
know what?
podcast.
I'm actually gonna. He's actually coming to London. I'm actually gonna go see him in London. O2
Oh, at the
in a
O2,
month.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's
He's
dope,
coming
bro. That's
to
gonna be
London.
dope.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna be
yeah,
lit. Yeah, yeah. That'll be a good
Jordan
one.
Peterson, I respect him a whole lot. I would like to do some type of collaboration with him in the future. Jesse Lee Peterson too. He's funny.
Oh, okay.
Jesse Lee Peterson,
Serious.
where I actually, and people, we got to give the props. I don't know who else used it, but men are hoes, men are hoe makers, women
Oh,
are
Makers.
hoes. That comes from
Yeah,
Jesse Lee Peterson. That
yeah.
comes from him. And that was the first time I heard it. I remember it was years ago. He'd been saying it for a while now, but
Yeah,
um, I was like, this dude funny. He funny. So
yeah.
I would like to do a podcast with him. Who else I respect? I respect and I would like to do a podcast with um I would say that's about it. Yeah,
Okay,
that's about
that's a
it.
solid
The
list,
Saint
though. That is
the Saint in the Center. Saint in the Center. You know of him?
Saint in the Center. The name sounds
Yeah,
familiar. The name
the Saint in
sounds.
the Center.
The name.
I seen him on Fresh and Fit one time. Like I seen a clip on Freshman. He was an intelligent dude. I seen just
I think I know
from
who
the
you're
glance
talking
of,
about. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I seen that. He's an
yeah.
intelligent dude. Maybe do some work with him. I'm really trying to work with. It's not really about the subscriber base, really, because I don't
Hmm.
think he even has a big subscriber base. But just greater minds. Minds
Yeah,
where I can learn from, and we could bounce ideas off of one another.
of course, of
Anybody
course.
else, I really, it's just like, yeah, I'll do any podcast, but
Hmm.
it's just, I mean, yeah.
No, definitely. No, I get it, man. I get it. So I got asked this question. Oh, you bounce back and forth between New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I got to ask because you mentioned you're a hip hop fan. So top five. I know it's a hard one. but top five to come out of Pennsylvania. And you know what? Let's combine it. In your eyes, top five to come out of Pennsylvania and Jersey.
To come
Honest.
out as far as
Honest.
hip hop.
Yeah, yeah, let's go hip hop.
Uh, to come out of Pennsylvania, I would say Philly, and then I would say Pittsburgh. So Philly would be Meek Mill, and Pittsburgh would be
Oh,
Wiz Khalifa.
okay. Okay.
So that'll be my top. And Jersey, I don't really know one that came big from New Jersey.
Mm.
I know Queen Latifah. I think she's from New Jersey. Um, and I know Joe Budden's from New Jersey. I think as well.
Oh, okay. Mm.
I think. But my top five in general, as far as hip hop, I'm gonna go with there's no order to it, but I'm gonna have Jay-Z, I'm gonna have Tupac, I'm gonna have Lil Wayne, I'm gonna
Oh.
have Drake,
Ooh.
and I'm gonna probably put in there. Wait, I gotta put in there DMX, and I gotta put 50 Cent. So I'm gonna go Jay-Z,
Oh.
50 Cent, DMX. I'm gonna go Lil Wayne or Drake. They interchangeable. And then I'm gonna go Lil Wayne and Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
a
mean,
that's a cold list.
I could throw the goats in there. I could throw Tupac in there. I
Mm.
could throw like Drake in there. Take out because Lil Wayne pretty much made Drake. I mean, if it
Yeah,
wasn't for Lil Wayne, we wouldn't have had Drake.
yeah,
Um, because we got to think about it. When Drake came out, he was sounding just like Lil Wayne.
that's true. Yeah.
They sounded just like he was using the same cadence and all of that. So
Hmm.
since we was used to hearing Lil Wayne, we kind of already accepted Drake because they
Except the
sounded
Drake, yeah,
similar. So
that's true.
without the Lil Wayne, it wouldn't even be Drake. And also he like
Hmm.
actually put him up and put money in his pocket, put him in the game.
That's
So
true.
I would kind of put those two in the same bracket, and then I'll add Tupac in there. Tupac or I mean Biggie. I was a fan of Biggie as well. I'm from the East Coast, so Biggie was always like propagated to me. Like, oh,
Hmm.
Biggie, Biggie was nice. But as I got older and more conscious, Tupac was more of that conscious rapper. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He was more of a conscious rapper than Biggie, I would believe. But
Okay.
yeah, man.
That's a solid list, man. Solid, solid. Um, where can people find you at? Socials.
Yeah, social media, man. Instagram, it is Cooley 1007. That's my personal page. I'm at 140K subscribers. My No Fugazi Instagram, No Fugazi podcast. Um, you can find me there, and that's Fugazi, Fugazee, Fugazi. So no Fugazi, and that page has 52,000 followers right now, still growing that. Then
Wow.
also you can find me right on Facebook. My name, David Cooley. So David Cooley Facebook page. Right now I'm at 325,000 subscribers on Facebook, and then on YouTube at No Fugazi. So yeah, man. I'll be putting out
Amazing.
all the content there.
Amazing. Amazing. Nah, that's dope, man. I was even gonna ask actually, who would you like to see on the Tech Time podcast? And before you answer, I may need your help getting them on the podcast.
Oh yeah, no worries, man. I got you. Uh hey man, you could I know y'all just starting, man. So depending on the route y'all want to take, you know, I like to see y'all do big things. I want to see y'all get the Rolo Tomasi's on, get
Oh,
the fresh and fits and do the
yeah.
big things and get you out in London, get Just Pearly on there, get Pearly
Oh,
things on
yeah.
there, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
She
I
got a
met her.
big
Yeah, yeah.
platform.
I did one of her. I went on Aunt Jenny's. It's linked with just pearly things, but yeah, yeah. I met her. She's cool, man. So yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta get her on as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so can you still see me? Because I'm getting a call right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, yeah, do that podcast. That'd be a good one. Um, and yeah, but yeah, I would like to see you with all of them. Out here, people that I work with Rico Hondo. You know Rico Hondo?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Rico
Rico
Hondo, yeah.
Hondo, that's
I
my
know him as
man.
well. Mm,
Try to get Rico Hondo on here. I think
that'll be a good one.
he's a smart dude, intelligent. He's a natural as well.
Hmm.
And he's with the podcast at Eight at the Table. Got much respect for them. They're at Eight at the Table, and yeah, I think that'd be a good one too, man.
Nah, that's love, man. Honestly, bro, I appreciate the time, man. Get me? That was
Got you, bro. Got you,
a
man.
a lot of lessons learned in that one, man. A lot of get me. Took a lot of notes there as well.
Hey,
So
man.
that was a
Hey,
good
man.
one,
I
man.
appreciate it. Thank you for having me, brother.
Nah, no worries, bro. No worries, bro. Guys, that's a wrap, man. Tech Time Podcast, episode 5 with Mr. David Cooley of the No Fugazi podcast. Yeah, man, get me.
All right, man.
Solid. Definitely. Take it easy, bro. Thank you.
Take it easy, man. Appreciate you.